All wings report in.
HouseDog, standing by.
MotherGoose, standing by.
Lowtech Tuck, standing by.
Lock S foils in attack position. Animal Squadron ready for battle.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Animal Squadron podcast. I am your host, HouseDog, and with me, we've got the full squad here today for the season finale of Skeleton Crew. So, of course, that means our main man, the one and only. He looks like Jesus. He's got a heart of gold. I love him to death. He shows me the dogs occasionally. The one and only MotherGoose.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here.
And on the other end of the spectrum, the autism spectrum, the color spectrum, who knows? It's the one and only Lowtech Tuck.
What up? I'm back to,
Tuck,
to my old ways.
Give me a 33. Give me a 33. I need a good low-res 33 to start off the day.
I remember every twisted peak.
There we go.
Or what does he say this episode?
He did say something new, and I wanted to make a note of it.
Hold me head steady. He
Yep.
does say that. And then he says something at the end. But
Can we talk about how insanely good your guys' predictions were?
Dude, yes!
Dude!
Thank you!
We nailed it.
Insane!
We nailed
Insane
it.
I
predictions.
literally, through this series of us going through and recording these episodes, I just kept having to keep my mouth shut because I was like, these guys are right, and I can't give it away.
yeah,
Yeah,
you have
no,
a solid
last
poker
episode
face.
was pretty good for the final predictions. We called the city being ran by a robot, there being an autocannon like on the other planet. I think those are like the two major things, right?
You also called KB crashing.
What?
Did he really?
Yeah, I don't think it was last episode. I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, but you were joking around and you were like, yeah, KB's gonna die when the ship crashes.
That sounds like something
Well,
Mac
what
would
do you
say.
know?
Just like the first time she's flying it, he's like, it's gonna crash. She's gonna die.
Yeah.
What
I
do you
can
know,
believe it.
man?
Crazy predictions. I'm really proud of you both. You killed it.
You know, it's like my dad always says, you know, every once in a while, even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Real.
And even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Twice a day.
Hell yeah. Well, final episode. This one is titled The Real Good Guys. How are you guys feeling about it?
I liked it. I know too that there was some concerns about like can the show stand on its own? I think you said that, Mac. And I'm really of the opinion that the way that this ends, there could be another season or there couldn't be, and I'm fine with either because I think it really wraps itself up well, and there's not necessarily a need for a season 2. I think a season 2 might be fun, but like it doesn't necessarily have to have one, and I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was the end. Was it the most amazing episode to end a season? No. But I also feel like what we were saying last week, it ended on its own terms, and it stood on its own legs the entire time.
Yeah.
This show does not need a season 2. It was a great one-off season. I think it was a really fun adventure to go on, and I think this would be a really fun binge for people. Like, I like to do, I like to do Kenobi in like a one shot, where I watch that whole season of Kenobi in like, 1 or 2 days. I think this would be a really fun series to do in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, like series like this are like a really fun 4-hour movie.
Right.
Right. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good way to end the season. I fully agree with you, Tucker. If there's not another season, I'd be okay with that. My only hope is if we don't get another season, that something explains what happens with all that money, because you can't just give the New Republic all of this money and nothing change in the galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and also too, I wonder what the New Republic's gonna do. Like, I wonder if they help them rebuild and then put them back in secrecy.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Because they don't want to crash the galaxy's economy, because it is so much money. Or I could see like the New Republic opening up trade with them, and also, I mean, I guess they could open up trade with them and still keep them a secret. Or if they actually want to fully admit them into the New Republic, complete with their own government and their own senator representatives and stuff like that.
Yeah. It doesn't even need to be something super in depth, but even just like a passing line, you know, just to know that, okay, they're doing something with this.
Yeah, like maybe like
right.
Mon Mothma at some point is like, we don't want to crash the galaxy's economy, so At-Atten's gonna stay a secret. Or on the other hand, like, we're gonna admit you to the Order, or I don't know, one of the two, or whatever.
Or we're gonna slowly drip the money out into the rest of the galaxy, so it's not all at once. Or we're gonna steal all the money, build a New Republic fleet or something. Just anything.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Or like later on, like it'd be kind of cool to see like a new Star Wars project and they're using At-Atten credits or something.
Yeah.
Like using it for something special. I don't know. It'd be cool.
For sure. Now that we have the season as a whole, let's say 1 to 5. What would you guys rate this season?
A strong 3, maybe 3.5.
My heart was saying
that's
3.5.
fair. Yeah, I think a 3.5 is fair. I don't think it's giving it too much, and I don't think it's giving it too less. I think it's a perfect middle of the road for me.
Yeah, I was thinking 3.5 as well.
Yeah. Oh, and for me too, like I would give it a 3.5 because the plot is very good, the writing's very good, the acting's really good. It's a very well produced show. But some things against it are like it's not part of the main story. I mean, it's canon, but it's not like it doesn't really have much to do with the main Star Wars galaxy. And so you can't give it a 5 because it's not perfect in that sense.
Yeah.
And then also I would also say that while I really enjoyed it, it's also too not like it wasn't meant to be a show that was like really anticipated or anything like that. Like I don't know. Well, I haven't heard anyone that really anticipated it and really thought it was a very important part of Star Wars as a whole.
Yeah, I fully agree. I am really happy that we got something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I will always prefer shows that are in like the main time, or not in the main timeline, but like connected to the main story. But these one-off series, I really think are great for fleshing out the universe as a whole, and I still love that.
Oh yeah, and also too, it's fun. Like it's really fun.
Yeah. So, did you guys have any favorite moments from this episode? I know Max. When
when the ship goes down, I knew that'd be a talking point.
I was gonna say when Wim got shot at, or Neil, whichever one the other one is.
Neil. Yeah, I was hoping he wouldn't run out of the cannon.
And whenever his bike crashes, Mac probably stood up and just screamed. He's probably so happy.
No, like I said, it's kind of what we've said the whole time. And I don't want to repeat myself, but like this show was just, I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. I had fun on this adventure with you guys. And I think it was a fun adventure to take. Will I ever revisit this? I don't know. You know, it was a fun ride. I'm glad I took it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like whenever you're on a road trip and you accidentally get lost, but then you find a really cool diner or like a brewery or something, you know?
Yeah.
And it kind of makes the getting lost worth it. That's kind of how I would describe this for me.
Yeah.
is
That's fair.
I'm glad I got lost. I'm glad I got to experience it. Will I ever go back? I don't know. And I don't know if I really have a bunch of like favorite moments from this episode, because there were times when I wanted so much more from this ending. And we've talked about that before as well, especially back in the day whenever it's just me and you, Elijah, and we were reviewing stuff, is expectations that you yourself put on the media that it could never fulfill,
Yeah.
And maybe I did that a little bit with this show. I'm not quite sure. Is that I might have had some more grand ideas for how Jod would turn out, which I'm not going to lie. I am upset that we didn't flesh these characters out more, but I also don't hold a 30-minute, 8-episode show against itself for that. You know what
Right.
I mean? You can't have a ton of character development, especially whenever it's a multi-member cast. Now, if this was like a 3-character cast where it was Jod and Wim and Fern, maybe, we could have had a lot more of a grander story of characters and things like that.
Right. Just better.
I feel like
character
I'm
development
rambling.
for a
I don't
smaller
know.
Yeah.
smaller
Stop me at
cast.
any
I see what
point.
you're saying.
Let me ask you this though. I mean, this is a little bit off topic, but I feel like it's still relevant. Like, I guess for me, I'm missing that as far as like, because like what did you expect more with Jod? Like what
I would have liked.
what could have happened that would have made it better?
I'm glad that we filled out his story in this last episode, but I don't like that it was 3 lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
Of his entire life story was 3 lines of dialogue of him going, I was a poor kid and all I had to worry about was food. And then a Jedi found me and then she got killed, which we can only assume he got found during Order 66, right?
Right. So sorry to jump in here. There actually was a whole scene, a flashback scene filmed with him and a Jedi. This Jedi Master was casted. She filmed everything. She thought she was going to be in the show, and all of her scenes got cut.
Oh,
And I think you can feel that, because I almost felt like a flashback belonged, like with his dialogue, a flashback would have really worked, where we see him on like just naming a planet like Corellia, like kind of like Han's backstory type deal, where he's this hardened street kid that's just trying to make ends meet and trying to get food at the end of the day. I feel like his dialogue would have worked really well with a flashback, even if it was just 3 lines and the voiceover during that flashback.
Right. It's the show don't tell.
yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like they took too much away. Like,
No,
I feel like
completely agree.
I feel like a flashback there with him dubbing over that moment would have really helped us understand his character, because it seems like Jod goes from almost this Han Solo type that we really hope for. You know what I mean? Which is also really good storytelling. You know what I mean? It's kind of a, bird in the bush, one in the hand type deal.
Yeah, and I love too
with
that it's
these
one of
characters.
his. I love too that it's one of his main flaws, is that he's like a failed Han Solo archetype.
Yeah.
Like that's like one of his,
but
that's like one of the main parts of him, is that he's a failed version.
I mean, I enjoyed him as a character and everything, but I mean, this is the last episode, so I'm gonna be critical,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna voice my opinions and everything like that, But
Yeah.
once we established that he was not Han Solo, which was probably what, 2, maybe 3 episodes ago, now.
Yeah.
Once we established that, okay, then make him the full pirate. Don't give me these moments where he second guesses himself, where he pulls the gun away from Fern or Wim. Like, shoot Fern and Win. Shoot their parents. Make him a pirate.
Yeah.
But also too,
I don't want these wavering allegiance.
Yeah, I mean, for him, actually, I liked that, because it's, at the end of the day, Jod's a liar and he's a faker.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, really, like, he's not a real pirate. Like, that's part of his. He can only pretend to be.
He's a con man.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
he's actually weak. He's not like, I mean, he's, and I actually like. I thought that whole storyline was interesting, personally.
Yeah. I do too, and I actually really like that he did kind of waver at the end. I think it shows that, yes, he does care about money more than anything else, but it doesn't mean that's the only thing he cares about.
And I really
think
think. Oh,
it
good.
can. No, I was just going to say it connects to the acid pool to Captain Reynolds, and that's the difference between the two, is that Reynolds cared only for money, and Jod cared most about money. And very similar, but not the same.
Burt Reynolds?
And I think
Wasn't that his name, Captain Reynolds?
Tax Rented.
Rented, thank you, sorry.
No, Burt Reynolds. You're right the first time.
Burt Reynolds, says the guy with the mustache.
Tell me Burt Reynolds wouldn't be a cool pirate in Star Wars.
I mean, yeah, that would have been pretty sick, actually. But anyways, I think he was also telling the truth. Like, for instance, just called him a liar, a coward, all this stuff. I think he was telling the truth whenever he's holding all the parents hostage. And he tells them and the kids, it didn't have to be like this. And he, like, slams on the table. I think he's legitimately frustrated, and that he really, he really didn't want to hurt anybody. He just wanted to con and scare and manipulate his way into a lot of cash, was all that he wanted.
Yeah.
And
maybe I didn't explain my feelings as good, because I did like those moments where he said, I didn't want it to be this way. And you can tell he is actually genuine about that. I guess I would have just liked a little bit more darker from him, to where he acts more heavily on those impulses.
Yeah, that's fair.
Rather than kind of pulling. I feel like the narrative of the character pulled from that, which the way that Jude Law played it, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The way he portrayed the character felt like his performance and everything might have leaned more into making a mistake, or what the audience would view as a mistake. You know what I mean? And him going, I wish I wouldn't have had to do, like, if he did accidentally clip Wim or Fern, and then going, I didn't want it to be this way. Why are you making me be the bad guy? To where it is still that narrative of I don't want to make these decisions. It's everybody's fault but mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That type of deal. I think that's a better way of how I would have liked the character to have been fleshed out. Is to where he still doesn't really take responsibility for things, because I still think that fits in that pirate type of archetype that we have. And it's, I didn't want to hurt people. You guys are forcing me to be the bad guy. I don't want to be the bad guy. I want to get my loot, continue to move on with my life, but you're making me make things hard.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, you know, like, let's say, so his line whenever KB is crashing, he tells the kids, look at what you did. And then he makes them watch as the plane starts spiraling down.
Yeah.
But, like, I agree with you, Mac. I think that line would have meant more, rather than him using, like, something that he thought was going to happen to say that and communicate that to the audience, but rather go a little bit of a darker direction with it. Probably would have been more impactful. Is that kind
right? Because they've already shown us that he does have that dark, you know, I hate to, you know, play on the Star Wars thing. He does have that dark side in him. We've seen it.
Well,
he literally stood there,
like
on the Onyx Cinder, and we talked about it last week, how powerful that moment was, where he's like, everybody shut up. I will literally carve you up. And it wasn't an empty threat. That line was perfect, and the way he delivered it was perfect, and you believed it. You honestly believed in that moment that if anybody got in the way of him achieving his goals on Ad-Atten, he would carve them up.
Yeah.
And I bought into it. I bought into that character. I bought into those lines, and I said, this is a man that wants to take care of his business and move on.
Yeah.
And I was happy for it. I was ready to see it.
Yeah. Well, then I can understand your disappointment. I mean, he really does, like, this Jod does differ from the previous episode's Jod a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not the best comparison, but it's kind of the only one that I can think of. But like, if you take a, I guess, normal pirate or whatever, but another Disney production, like Jack Sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Jack Sparrow's character, like I've never had a problem with his arc, his storyline, or whatever. Like Jack is Jack. You know that Jack is going to double cross his way through every situation.
Yeah.
And it is always going to benefit him. But you know he does care a little bit in that he does have a bit of care for others and everything. But at the end of the day, it's still always to serve Jack's goals, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that character is played so well. And I guess it just felt like kind of like a waffling with Jod in a way.
Yeah. That's fair.
I'm glad you brought up these two moments, Tuck. The look at what you've done moment. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about it till you brought it up just now. It's kind of reminiscent of Jedi with the Emperor.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm reaching. And Luke a little bit, where, you know, they're in the throne room on Death Star 2.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, look at your rebel fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and certainly the intention is there. Like that is what he's communicating. Even though he's not exactly saying, look at what you've done. He's communicating that this is your fault, that I'm about to press this button and destroy all your friends. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch your friends be destroyed.
Or what does he say? Your overconfidence is your weakness, and your faith in your friends is yours.
Well, Tukey, did you have any favorite moments?
I love the supervisor. I'm a little bit sad. I kind of wish that he wasn't so easy to kill. Like, I mean, that was...
Yeah.
I get that it was the end of the episode and that they kind of need to play hurry-up offense a little bit, but still, like, it didn't even put up a fight, and it rules a whole planet. And then also, too, like, and it's very clear from the other characters, like, all the parents know exactly what the supervisor is, that he's a robot.
Yeah.
Like, they all know that. And, like... Yeah. You know, and I just like there's like he didn't even have a defense at all. He wasn't threatening or anything. But I liked his design I thought his voice was cool, but I wish he had fought back a little.
I loved his line where he was like, "Funny. Last I heard, the Jedi were tried to overtake the Republic.
Yes.
So are you a Jedi or are you an ambassador, whatever they called them?
Which lie are you telling?
Yeah.
Are you an emissary or a Jedi?
But also, too, with that, I mean, that's another thing that I was a little disappointed with, just because, like, so clearly the supervisor knows about the outside world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And, like, why is he so weak? Like, I mean, I could see if he was just manufactured on At-Aten, put there, and that's just what the whole goal was, and he spent his entire, like, all of his recordings and the things that he has learned, so to speak, was just entirely At-Aten. I could see him being weak then, because he would have just been programmed from the very beginning, like, the barrier is my defense. I don't actually need to have a defense. But he knows, and he somewhat understands that the galaxy is in fact dangerous. So it's just kind of weird to me that you just stab him in the eyeball and he's just dead. But I don't know.
May I ramble?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So, a couple things. One, I felt so vindicated whenever that supervisor popped up, whenever we entered that room in the supervisor tower.
Yeah,
and
it was
like,
cool.
This is the supervisor. I was like, me and Tuck were right. We were right. We did it. Two, I was let down that it wasn't robot Burt Reynolds.
Of course.
Three, I think this goes back to the beginning of the series whenever we said that the town of At-Aten has like that uncanny valley vibe. And it totally makes sense now that the supervisor is a robot, that it has that vibe to it.
Right.
That like things are a little too perfect type deal.
Yeah.
And then what you boys were talking about how it knows. obviously it was an allusion to Order 66, which I'm glad that the supervisor didn't come out and say, well, when the transmission for Order 66 came out and the Jedi were branded as traitors, I'm glad that he just said, last news I got, the Republic said that the Jedi were traitors, which makes me think that this system or whatever, well, it tells us a few things. That this system was operating, obviously, pre-Order 66.
Yeah.
So it's part of the Republic. At one point.
Yeah, it was part of the, it's a Republic mint, which I guess that makes sense. Maybe I'm dumb. But that it was still receiving transmissions up until that point, which I think that Palpatine didn't know about at this point would seem silly. I don't know how they're going to spin it.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. Talking about like old theories and stuff. And especially too, like, as the Chancellor, how would that secret have been kept from him? Especially whenever he was Chancellor. Yeah.
Exactly.
Here's my thoughts on that. We know that it's specifically old Republic credits. I think it was still kept a secret because it's been lost for a really long time. And I don't think anyone was communicating specifically with the supervisor. I think the supervisor was just picking up on, like, Republic radio waves.
Oh, that's a good thought. And maybe that's why
but I
also
thought the barrier kind of
prevented
that, though.
Well, clearly the supervisor has to have some way around that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also, too, I mean, they are able to send out a communication even with the barrier. Yeah. There's a way to do it that Fern's mom shows Jod how to do. And so, I mean, I can see the supervisor, like, even with the barrier up, and also maybe without anyone's knowledge, he could still at least pick up some stuff. So you can send stuff out, or you can take stuff in.
Other side of the coin is, whenever that news came out that the Jedi were evil and branded as traitors, why would the supervisor think to continue communications with the Republic? Because realistically, once the Jedi were branded as traitors, like, they were the galaxy's biggest threat.
And maybe cut them off to keep everyone safe.
Yeah.
Especially, like, what if... So the Empire might have changed their... I know it's not radio, but I'm just going to use radio as an example. Maybe they changed their radio waves, and the supervisor just couldn't hear from the outside galaxy anymore. So the last thing he hears is, oh, the Jedi have gone rogue, and then silence?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that probably would have freaked him out a little bit.
The only thing that I could say about that is I'm so happy that I can talk about Rebels. Is there's that scene in Rebels where they're talking about the channels and the communications of the Empire. Yeah. And they're breaking into something or going somewhere, and it's once Rex is with the Ghost crew, and Kanan's like, are you sure this is going to work? And Rex is like, yeah, me and Cody wrote this entire code, and they just didn't. They've, like, changed it a little bit, but me and Cody wrote the entire code for the Republic, bro. They're still using this stuff.
That is a really good point.
Yeah. Oh, quick comment. Speaking of Rebels, live action B-Wings. Pretty sick.
Yes. With the lasers.
With the
lasers.
Peanut butter and jelly the long way.
Hell yeah. I think this is our first live action appearance of them using the lasers from Rebels. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. That was a cool moment. Oh, that was the other thing too, with whenever the New Republic shows up, is like, I mean, I get that there was somewhat of a desperation to shoot down the ship in time, but I thought it was kind of interesting that they didn't wait for the ship to move a little bit and they just shot it up, like shot it down over a city. Just like,
I thought the exact same thing.
I was like,
I'm so glad you said that.
Like, maybe it'd be best to, like, let him run for a second and then shoot him out over the countryside or the ocean if there's an ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought the exact same thing as that scene happened, and you see that the pirate ship crash into, like, it takes out like 5 city blocks and then stops in that little pond or whatever it is, and I'm like, what did they do? The New Republic literally just came in, shot the hell out of this thing, and then was just like, we'll drop it over the city. We're heroes.
They had a taste for blood.
And like they could have let it like float away for like 5 seconds and it would have landed in the river.
Right.
The entire city is literally surrounded by dense forest. The only thing out there is the city center, and they're just like, shoot it out, we'll be fine.
Shoot it down.
Yeah.
They got to rebuild anyway.
It's not like the townspeople just lost power and probably standing out in the streets wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
If only Wim's family was out, or Neil's family was standing out in the streets instead of with everyone else.
I think there's probably a lot of boredom for the Republic military right now, because especially as we've seen through Mandalorian and Ahsoka, the Republic military is not doing a lot. They're kind of just flying around patrolling. So they probably got that call and they're like, action time, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, the response time is insane. I thought that as well. I was like, they literally called Owl Lady and they were like, send us help now. 2 minutes later, New Republic's there. I was like, when did the Republic start operating like this?
I mean, she does tell KB that now that I have the coordinates, they'll be there in 2 flaps, is what she says.
Yep.
Which I think just means that they'll use light speed and get there extremely fast. But
Yeah. And depending on where Atten is, it probably was close to where some of the New Republic military was patrolling.
It would be nice to see a star map of where Atten is in the galaxy, like whether it's out by the Rishi Maze or, out Corellia Way, or,
Right
how
next
far
to
it is from the center.
Coruscant.
yeah, is it close to the core worlds? Which
Yeah, is
actually,
it mid-rim, outer rim?
that would be actually, you know what? My guess would be that it's probably fairly close to the core, even though it is hidden.
Yeah.
Just because it's a mint.
That's what I was thinking
And
too.
they wouldn't want to have to transport those credits very far.
Especially
To the central
if
banks.
it's an old
Yeah.
Republic mint,
Mm-hmm.
with the wars against the Mandalorians and the Siths, of course they'd want to keep the mint close.
Yeah.
Or it's out on the edges of the, what's it called? The wild regions or whatever.
Maybe, yeah.
Where the Rakata can find it.
Hell.
And
Maybe-
maybe they do.
Maybe it's out Canto Bight way,
I really appreciated that this episode gave moments to each of the kids. KB got the message out. Elephant Boy, Neil. Got to shoot the ship. Wim and Fern, helped bring the barrier down. They confronted Jod. Wim got his moment with the lightsaber. We got to turn it on correctly. I don't know. I just really appreciated that they each got their own moment.
Also, too, one thing that I thought about is like, so Wendell, like he gets his moment too, and like so does I don't remember Fern's mother's
mom,
name,
yeah.
but like she gets her moment. But like, well, and I guess like Neil's family, they've got the little kids, so obviously like storming a government facility is probably not a great idea for them. But
I think it's a good idea.
But like KB's mothers, like they didn't really do anything.
Yeah, they kind of just hid.
You can do it. You can fix anything.
They were emotional support.
Yeah, but
Plummet to
At
your
least
death.
they didn't get captured like Neil's parents.
yeah, yeah. Neil's parents are just like, oh wait, you rule now? Okay, all right, sounds good. Kind of
Well,
sucks, but
guess that's it.
To be fair, they did have 2 infants to think about.
oh yeah, no, I know.
Children make great fodder, Elijah.
Toss the baby.
No, you want him as a body shield
Oh,
while you run.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
my bad.
So one thing I thought was going to happen with that lightsaber moment where Wim goes to pick it up and they're, Jaw's using the force to try to pull it and Wendell's trying to pull down the handle to bring down the planetary shield, is I thought that Wim and Fern were going to let go of the lightsaber but activate it at the last second
Oh, yeah,
as
I did
Jod's
too.
pulling it
I did too.
and kill Jod.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this will be the most epic ending of a person if he dies by his own hand.
Yeah, like Final Destination style, just like, yeah, just right through the chest. That'd be crazy.
I would have been happy. I would have been like, that's a perfect ending for Jod.
Yeah.
He kills himself with his own lightsaber.
Yeah.
would've
Instead,
loved
he
it.
just kind of gives up, which I'm actually okay with. I think he goes through all of this to get here, and it all crashes down around him, and he breaks. And I really like that moment.
Yeah, and I think it does fit the narrative too of him being secretly a coward the whole time,
Yeah.
and like being like way like he's in too deep by a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's probably that realization of, I should have just brought the kids here. I could have got all this gold, left, found some remote planet, some remote beach planet, spend the rest of my days on, and now I'm going to prison. Real prison, not pirate prison.
yeah, and it is kind of a fitting ending too, just as far as like the message of that overambition and greed you'll lose. Like those are not good things.
I agree. Well, boys, is there anything else you wanted to talk about with this episode?
Another cool moment. The speeder bikes work. Like whenever the power's off. That was pretty cool. And then also too, like I was thinking, like in that scene whenever they're like running away from the pirates and they're trying to shoot them and stuff. Like I was just thinking, I was like, man, now we got a Star Wars show. We've got like, you know, a space car chase where they're shooting and stuff. I mean, I just thought it was cool.
Right. And it also, that like the coming of age film, the kids running away on bikes from police or government agents or whatever.
Yeah. I just
Gotta
I
get
thought it was
E.T.
cool.
home, man.
That's right.
Exactly. Gotta keep 11 from the weird scientist guys.
Also true.
Papa?
Papa, more movie. More movie.
I think the supervisor was also a callback to like 2001 Space Odyssey, you know, HAL,
Yeah.
which is George had his THX 1138, you know, and I think there's a robot in there like that as well, where it's like the red eye and everything.
Yeah, I was thinking HAL as well. I just couldn't remember the name.
Yeah, which I feel like that's a good play there as well, which we've discussed that as well on the show. They've done a really good job of making this it was a good coming of age story. You know, the parents finally understood the kids, and the kids, you know, the parents learned from the kids, and the kids found themselves, and it was friendship all along that really matters. And now we've got a new pet as SM-33. You know, SM-33 is it Chunk from the Goonies? Is that his name?
Oh yeah.
The guy
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Hold
they
me
take
head
home.
straight. Oh, dude, they should have done like a post-credit scene where they're trying to like set SM-33 up like at someone's house, and he like you know, drops his head or something silly. You know, like I think that would have been fun at the end.
Arr, always losing me head.
Put me head on the street. Arr.
Must have been a twisted peak.
Must have been.
Yeah, that's what got him. That's it.
Well, this has been great. I really enjoyed it, and I think we're going to be talking about Andor next, which season 2 comes out here in like a week or two. But we're going to start with season 1, so it'll probably be a little bit before we get to season 2. But really, really looking forward to that.
Yeah, man, me too.
And if you guys want to be a part of this conversation, you can email us at animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, that is animalsquadron@gmail.com. And if you could leave us a review wherever you're listening, that would be amazing. For the Animal Squadron, this has been MotherGoose.
I think we should all do our outros like pirates.
And Lowtech Tuck.
Do it as
MotherGoose,
a pirate.
arg.
Tucker,
And this has been
indulge me.
Lowtech Tuck. Walk the plank.
Aye.
And on the port
You'll
side.
find us anywhere. Just hold her steady. You can find the Animal Squadron around every twisted peak.
Boarding.
This has
party
been
on port side.
HouseDog.
Starboard side, port bow. You can find us everywhere. everywhere you get your podcast.
Find us in your poop deck.
Everywhere you get your podcasts. Arr.
Smoking or non-smoking.
Arg. Goodbye, everybody. Arg.
Walk the plank.
Goodbye.